There I am. Okay, so it's my opportunity to say welcome this morning to the Louisville Center for Spiritual Living online. And so it's wonderful to have you all here, and I hope everybody's enjoying nice weather the way we are here in Louisville in this area. It's just beautiful out there. So we'll get our Sunday started. All right, let's take a deep breath. We welcome the knowledge of the purity of all. We welcome our knowledge of spirit as each of us. We welcome the opportunity to come together in gratitude and joy. We are grateful as we gather here this morning to serve each other and to be served. And so it is. Okay, Tammy is doing our opening reading this morning.
Okay, my reading today is from October, Science of Mind. And for some reason, it dawned on me to really read the whole page. And this is an excerpt from This Thing Called Life, which Ernest wrote in 1943. We were 4 years into World War II. We had 2 more years to go of World War II, and Ernest was 56 years old. I think that sets a good background for what I'm going to read. Written in mind. If we recognize at one-ment with infinite mind, we realize that we have at our command the power, the intelligence, and all the strength of the universe. Gussie Rundle. Have we really tried God? Since all other methods have failed, a divine compulsion is laid upon everyone to find the power of God and make use of it. The cry, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?" rising from countless millions of anguished minds as they hang on the cross of human suffering, will not go unanswered if faith in the divine presence is gained. It is not merely a new theory about God that we are looking for. It is the actual power of God that we must lay hold of. Our trouble is that we have not really believed that his presence exists and operates in human affairs. We have not realized the divine presence as a living and dynamic reality. What we need is the direct experience of a conscious contact with the divine. God is life, not some life, but all life. God is action, not some action, but all action. God is power, not some power, but all power. God is presence, not some presence, but all presence. God is pure spirit, filling all space. This pure spirit animates your every act. There is a real you that lives in a real God, and the two are one. To know this is to understand your relationship with the divine presence. To realize that the law of God is written in your own mind is to make available to you a power that can meet every need. And our affirmation, I am in constant contact with the indwelling spirit. Thank you. And so it is.
So it is. That's beautiful, Tammy, and it's right with the talk. I mean, I could fill it in and have the talk there. We have started following the national guidelines for giving talks on each Sunday. And so today we're going to be continuing the month of living as compassionate conduits. And the title of this one is, What is God Giving You? So we're going to talk about that a little bit, but I also wanted to tell you, I think that 2021 is going to be very exciting The theme is going to be timeless wisdom, evolutionary vision. Timeless wisdom, evolutionary vision. So I think that'll be a great year, and we'll cover all sorts of areas of that in that coming year. So we have, what is God giving you? You ask yourself this question, but first you have to ask yourself, who is God? Who is God? The great I am, the first, the last, the being of all being, mind, ground of all being, Father, Mother, God. There's just so many different names that we have given to the divine, that energy that is everything in the universe. We call it, one of those names, the one that fit for us. Some fit for some people and some fit for others, but it's whatever brings us more awareness of the oneness and the power of the absolute. So we ask ourselves, and that's what we come up with. And it is all that is. So it is you and it is me and it is every one of us. And it is not that we are carrying around a little nugget of God in our hearts, which some people teach. We are that nugget. We are that God. And so we have all the things that it has given us. And the first things to think about is giving us the ability to create, the ability to see something that we want and create it, or to see something that we don't want and to eliminate it, get rid of it. So we have that ability to create, and we have the authority to do so. We've talked about authority for the last couple of weeks. We have the authority. We can call it the way we see it, and be expressions of the one. So the first things that Spirit gives us are the ability to create and the ability to have the authority to do so. So we have an opportunity to take in everything from God, but we don't. We question this and question that, and live very limited lives for some of us, because we do not accept all of the power and all of the presence that is ours to accept. So Reverend Vioon in California was the one who made the video for this particular week, and he does that really for every week. He's our spiritual leader in the national group for all of us. We want to be as awake as we can be. We want to be aware as much as we can be aware. We close things off with all sorts of things, reasons and doubts and fears and I'm not enough and all kinds of things. We block it off, and so we don't really enjoy all that is ours to have and to receive. And Edward talks about that we make assumptions. We make that we know what's going on. He hates to admit, but one of his things is that people cut him off in traffic. And his immediate response to that is to be very angry and to call in their heritage and their upbringing and a couple other things, and the whole thing, gets angry. Well, then he realizes now, after having thought about this for a long time, that that's just his opinion. That's not really directed at him personally. It's just something he has no idea what's going on with the other driver. He gave the example of being behind someone or being cut off by someone and be upset by it and then realize, I don't know what they're doing. They may be rushing off to the hospital to deliver the young lady in the front seat, have a baby. I don't know what's making them drive the way they're driving, but they may have a very good reason to be in a very big hurry, and I just don't know what it is. And so I'm going to bless them and stay out of the blame things and the why things. Years ago, I heard a speaker, and he said, never ask the question why. You can ask the question how, you can ask the question when, you can ask the question what, but you never ask the question why. And I remember thinking, what do you mean don't ask why? Why would you gotta know why? But I got it after a period of years. And when we go to asking why, we bring ourselves into a place where we are questioning everything. And we spend a whole lot of time trying to figure out what someone else was thinking, someone else was doing, what we're thinking, what we're doing, and why are we doing that? Why did I do that? Why did she do that? And, the why questions are great distractions, and they take up a lot of our time and give us nothing in return. So give up the question, why? People are right now really involved in the election and all that, and they're asking, why did this happen? Why did that happen? Why are we, it doesn't matter. We don't know why, because it's a complicated thing. It's not a simple answer. And we don't need to know the why. We need to just know what is ours to do. What is our part to do in all of this? And usually our part is to maintain a positive attitude and to maintain an acceptance of everyone and their differences and what they think and what they believe, whether we understand that or not. So we don't ask the question why. There's a couple of classic stories that have been around a long time. And if somebody said, well, are they true? And I think they are. I think I met the guy who it happened to, the first one. He was part of the Speakers Association, driving down the road one day, got in the right-hand lane, was quite sure that he was going to be able to just zip around there, and he always zipped around there. And he was in a hurry, of course. He had to get to where he needed to be. And the car in front of him stopped. And she's messing with something in the back seat. And in a minute, she gets out of the car, and he's like, that is so rude. Doesn't she know I have someplace to go? And she's messing with something in the back seat. Well, she took out her baby, who was choking. And she started the back patting and all that stuff. And pretty soon the baby threw up what he had been blocked by, and he was fine. And the man in the car who sat there and watched this thought, I never know why. I never know why. And why would I add anger, frustration, all of those emotions to my life and to the world? Because I don't really know what's going on. I don't know why a person feels the way they do or does what they do. The other one that's been around a long time is a man. He's on the subway in New York, very late at night, the middle of the night, really. And he is sitting with his head down and his hands over his face, and he's just sitting there. But he has 4 kids, and they are not just sitting; they are bouncing off the walls, it seems. And finally, one of the other riders on the subway said, I don't think you ought to have them out this late at night anyway, but you certainly ought to control them if you're going to have them out this late at night. And he went, what, I didn't realize. And he told his kids to sit down, and they did. He said, we just lost my wife, their mother. And none of us really know what's happening for us now. So those are very dramatic ways of saying, you're getting angry and you're putting them down and thinking that you know what's going on and that he's just a poor parent really has nothing to do with truth. It's not yours to understand what someone else is doing unless they ask you to understand. It's yours to let them be who they are without having to suffer your judgment. And judgment and why go together hand in hand. So we make up reasons why, and then we make judgments on why, and it brings us an awful lot of pain. It brings us a lot of questioning, a lot of feeling bad about ourselves or about what's going on. Take a perfectly beautiful day and somebody cuts you off and now you have a terrible day. But that was your choice to try to figure out what they were doing and to put them in a box. We all have lots and lots of boxes that we put people in. So when he was talking about the driver, he was also saying that he often chose the way that would cause him and anybody else that was affected the most pain, because he would react with anger or put downs or all of that kind of stuff. And for himself, it was poison. And for those around him, it was poison. But he had, even now, and he's been a spiritual leader for a long, long time, he still has those moments where he thinks he knows what's going on. And he gets stopped in his own mind when he asks himself, you don't really know. What do you think you know? But the truth is, you don't know. And so to allow people to be who they are and to live how they want to live without your judgment. When we understand that spirit is living as us, it's so hard to explain, because it's not like they used to, church I went to, they talked about the little nugget in your heart, that was the spirit, this little nugget that you had there. And they just all were trying to figure out where this God was in you. They knew you had God in you, but they didn't quite understand that it wasn't a little nugget, that it was actually you. It's your whole being. It's all that you are. And so you have no limitations, only the ones that you put on yourself. If you live fully in the knowing that you and spirit are one, and that you have been gifted with spirit's characteristics of creativity and authority, then you can live your life in a whole different way. So when we go through our days and we make judgments about things, ask ourselves, what am I basing that on? Am I basing that on the way a person's dressed? And in my experience, the person who dresses like that does this. And so I put them in that little box and mark them off. We do it all the time, and we do it with simple things. And to be aware, to become aware that we are doing it, that we are putting people in boxes, we're making judgments, we're deciding who they are and what they're doing and why they're doing it, then we understand that we don't know anything. And we can let that go and not be consumed with judging other people. We do a lot of that judging ourselves too. Why did I do that? Why can't I do this? Why can't I grow? All of those things, and they're all whys, and they do not get you anything except pain and frustration. So if you can let them go, then your life will be much easier, and you'll grab more of the ability and power that is you. And you give up being the poor person that nobody ever understands, and you don't understand everybody else and all that kind of stuff, because you have the authority to create friendships, to create caring relationships, and to be true to yourself while being helpful and servicing others. All right. He spoke, the question is this: what is life spreading before me? And is there a shift that I can make to embrace our more expansive point of view, or let more of that gift in? What is laying ahead of me? What is calling me to do? And if I can open myself to understand my power, I can have that and so much more. Because as we open ourselves, Spirit always says yes. All right, let's do a little meditation. Closing our eyes, balancing ourselves in our chairs, feet on the floor, and aware of our breathing. Is there some particular thought or phrase or story that has stuck with you, that has said something to you that you know you needed to hear? What was it? What did it tell you? How can you hang on to the wisdom that you just received? Breathing deeply, knowing truth, receiving the gifts of the One. We let it be. We call it good. And we know that it is good. And so it is. Okay.
Off for our prosperity affirmation. And we thank you all so much for your input to keep our community going every week. The affirmation for today, I'll say it and then we'll repeat it together. If the only prayer I ever say is thank you, it is enough. You can look at your chat screen and see if the only prayer I ever say is thank you, it will be enough. And you can donate to our post office box through PayPal, on Constant Contact email, or the Givelify app on your phone or computer. And we thank you so much. Okay, announcements. Only one announcement for today. Our board meeting will be Wednesday, November 11th at 4:15 p.m. And you're always welcome to come to our board meetings, and you go through the Zoom link you used to be here with us today. That'll take you to our board meeting. And keep it on going. I am going to do the closing treatment for today. And closing treatment, not all of it, but part of it, is the prayer that was in the Science of Mind. And the prayer is called Cosmic Connections. So I thought it would be very apropos for today. There is only one power, one presence, one life, one love. Its center is everywhere, and its circumference is nowhere. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The word spoken upon the waters of consciousness is the one creative source of all. The entire universe is the body temple of the divine, operating in order, harmony, and perfection. Recognizing the fullness, the allness, and the beginningness of all that is, I know that wholeness, unity, and inclusion are the divine order of the universe itself. I am intimately aware of my eternal cosmic connection with the divine. I am inseparable from it because I am that I am. I live, move, breathe, and have my being as it and it as me. Just as there is no place where the divine ends and I begin, there is no place where I end and another begins. All are one. I am grateful for the multitude of cosmic connections I experience daily. Each is a divine expression of my conscious connection with the One. I confidently release this word into the law, assured that it is done. And so it is.
Put our hands together and know that we are all one. And open our hands and know that the oneness that we are blesses the world. And we're so grateful. And so it is. All right. Yes. Glad you were all here.